Okay, so we're starting off with another insane ruling from a lower court judge that is seeking to micromanage ICE and Border Patrol. Also, the House of Representatives are voting to reopen the government at this moment in time. And Fox News just exposed H-1B visa program for the scam that it is. We'll show you both sides of the case and all these stories. Let's start with this ruling from this judge. Take a look.
Breaking news, CNN affiliate WLS reports that a federal judge has ordered the release of hundreds of people arrested as part of the Trump administration's immigration crackdown in Illinois. This deals a major blow to federal efforts to detain and deport as many undocumented people as possible. CNN's Whitney Wild is following the latest from Chicago. Whitney, what more are you learning?
Well, Boris, what we can say is that this is, as you said, this is a major win for plaintiffs' attorneys, immigration rights attorneys who are saying that these arrests by people who have no deportation orders, who have no criminal history, are simply illegal. The judge today is ordering the release of hundreds of people who have been arrested. Plaintiffs' attorneys believe that up to 3,000 people have been arrested between June and October. And the district court judge who has listened to this case voiced quite a bit of skepticism that the majority of those people have any criminal record, have any reason to be remaining in U.S. custody. And so now he is ordering the continued review of people who are in custody and the release of those who are in custody. This more practically applies to all 3,000 people who have been arrested by ICE and the Customs and Border Patrol between June and October.
Okay, bottom line up front, this is an insane ruling, and I'll explain why. One, this is just another example of how the lower court judges continue to override the president of the United States and continue to micromanage Department of Homeland Security, particularly ICE and Border Patrol. Now, District Judge Jeffrey Cummings, who was appointed by Barack Obama, by the way, says that he wants at least 313 people who were detained by ICE to be released. Now, what is he getting this from? Well, he's getting this from an agreement between the federal government and a state like Illinois. And this was an agreement that was signed back in 2022, by the way, that said that, hey, if you guys attempt to deport someone, you have to provide documentation or an administrative warrant, or there's certain steps you have to take. It's not like California or Texas or Florida. According to the judge, ICE agents were not doing that. Now, the interesting thing, these people are still going to be subject to deportation, by the way, okay? We'll read a little bit more, but I want you to hear this first. Take a look.
Plaintiffs' attorneys believe that number is actually lower than the total number. So it does apply to all of those people, but most practically speaking, it applies to 615 people who are currently in custody all across the country. I spoke with the plaintiffs' attorneys after the judge issued their ruling, and they said of those 3,000, they believe 1,100 simply left voluntarily after they were placed in custody because they gave up on their immigration status fight and chose to leave the United States. So this is, again, an enormous win for the ACLU, for the National Immigration Justice Center. Here's more from attorney Mark Fleming.
For the last 2 months, the terrorizing of our neighborhoods, the brutalizing of people here has all been unlawful. That's what it's going to show. It's going to show that all of this, all of the tactics of Mr. Bavino, all of the tactics of ICE have been unlawful in the vast, vast majority of arrests.
So according to this judge, he wants DHS to hand over documents showing the status and flight risk of 615 illegal aliens the plaintiffs suspect ICE arrested in the state without a warrant. Okay. 2, he wants them by November 19th to provide an up-to-date list of people both Border Patrol and ICE have arrested in Chicago. So bottom line, DHS will probably appeal this. They're going to have to argue why did ICE officials not have to adhere to this agreement that was signed back in 2022 under the Biden administration about what is required in the state of Illinois. There's about 7 states that are part of this agreement, by the way. Kentucky's another one. Bottom line is, are they able to appeal this? Will they be able to win this on appeal? We're going to find that out shortly. But again, bottom line is the people are in this country illegally. They will be deported. It's only a matter of time. All right, let's head to our next story. Update about the government shutdown. House of Representatives are holding a vote to reopen the government, but there's much more shenanigans, including AOC continuing to turn on Chuck Schumer. Let's start here.
Tell us how this voting process is going to play out over the next minutes and hours. Do Republicans definitively have the votes to reopen the government?
It does appear that they have the votes to reopen the government, Jake, but we do expect this to be a pretty close vote because of the opposition from Democrats. So just to walk through the process here, in this hour, there'll be the first procedural vote. That's a vote what's known as the rule. It sets the parameters for the floor debate. It actually allows for the bill to be approved by a simple majority in the United States House. The rule is expected to be approved here. And then around in the 7 p.m. Eastern hour into the 8 p.m. Eastern hour, that will be the vote on final passage of this bill. And the bill, we are expecting it to be supported by mostly, if not all but one Republican. One Republican, Congressman Thomas Massey of Kentucky, just told me moments ago that he wouldn't say exactly how he'd vote, but he said this bill has gotten worse compared to the last bill he voted against. So a sign that he is a no. And Mike Johnson can only afford to lose 2 Republican votes along straight party lines. There are signs that there are Democrats who could vote for this bill.
I mean, clearly there's so much going on in our country, and that's why I have to deliver this urgent reminder. The Medicare enrollment period is ending soon. This means you have until December 7th to pick a plan for 2026. It's no secret that Medicare enrollment process is confusing, and I think it's on purpose because brokers are looking to make more money, which means you could potentially be on the wrong plan. Question, wouldn't it make sense to speak to a trusted advisor today? That's why I recommend you call Chapter. They're the only advisors that will compare every nationwide plan to make sure that you choose the right one. And they are results driven. They save people $1,100 a year. If you look in the comments section, you'll see that people are already thanking me for directing them to Chapter. They will help you. And the best part is their service is completely free and it only takes 20 minutes. And by the way, if you're already on a Medicare plan, they can look at it and make sure that it's good. And if it's not, they'll help you switch. So don't gamble with your Medicare coverage today. Call Chapter at 323-431-5200. Understand it's peak season, so you're going to want to call them first thing in the morning. That number again is 323-431-5200. Speak to a trusted advisor today. Okay. Don't you feel like we've already had this conversation already? Well, guess what? We did, but it was with the Senate. I told you, I think this was a couple of days ago, that this is not over. The government is still shut down. And it not only had to break the filibuster in the Senate, which required 60 votes, but then they had to vote again in the Senate in a simple majority, which they did, and sent it back to the House. But the House was not in session yesterday, and finally they are today. And now they're finally going to get to this vote. Okay, so that's point number one. Point number two, you also have the Epstein discharge petition, which did reach 218 votes. You also have AOC gunning for Chuck Schumer, which we're about to get to here because I believe it's over for him. Okay, and then you have all this other just distractions with the party. Okay, and so we're going to get to all that in this video. But let's go to this next clip. This is AOC. And whether or not she's truly questioning or turning on Chuck Schumer, I guess you'll have to interpret her answer. Take a look.
And on the shutdown, how would you characterize the way that Senator Schumer handled this shutdown?
I think it's important that we understand that this is not just about Senator Schumer, but that this is about the Democratic Party. Senator Schumer, there was no one vote that ended this shutdown. We are talking about a coordinated effort of 8 senators with the knowledge of Leader Schumer voting to break with the entire Democratic Party in exchange for nothing. And now people's health care costs are going to be skyrocketing, and we want to make sure that we have a path to ending this moment and finding relief for them right now. But I think that when we talk about this debate about the Democratic Party, it is indeed about the party writ large and our ability to fight or not.
Okay, well, some people are taking this as AOC continuing to turn on Chuck Schumer without actually directing her anger towards him. She obviously questioned his leadership, as you guys heard. And then she brought up the idea of healthcare. Let's make sure you guys all understand what's going on here. Right now, the House of Representatives are about to vote to reopen the government. According to Republicans, they do have the votes to make that happen. Secondly, they want to start talking about healthcare. Remember, it's Democrats who broke the healthcare system, okay? It's Democrats who made up Obamacare. It's Democrats who introduced these ACA subsidies. It's Democrats who put the expiration date on these subsidies. So they need to fix it, all right? And finally, you got this Epstein stuff going on. This is all happening parallel to each other in the House of Representatives at this moment. Now, here is another Democrat who also questions Schumer's leadership. Take a look.
You put out a post saying that Schumer's not the leader the Senate needs right now for Democrats. What was the thought process behind that?
Well, it's pretty simple. Either he wouldn't or couldn't keep the Senate Democrats together. I'm really proud to be a member of the House Democratic Caucus, where Leader Jeffries and Catherine Clark and Pete Aguilar have kept us all together for weeks and weeks, despite really difficult circumstances. I think Leader Jeffries has done a tremendous job keeping us all united.
And there it is. How many of them are actually going to say this in front of a camera? I think the number is going to continue to increase because we saw what happened back in March when Schumer did the right thing. Now he did the wrong thing. He's still getting the same amount of backlash. But what's different today is Democrats want to take this energy, this momentum, this attention, if you want to call it, and use it as a way to usher in new leadership. They saw the win from Mondani. They believe that is the pathway forward. And so they're going to continue to double down on it. And Chuck Schumer is not a part of that equation whatsoever. Okay. Now, to give you guys an idea of how some of the voters feel about what the Democrats have done, as in weaponizing this government shutdown, listen to this caller as he rages against his own representative. Take a look.
Who shut down the government? And you don't even answer it because I know who it is. It was the Democrats. So let's put that to bed. Now let me ask you another question. I agree with Democrats on this. Public sentiment is in favor, probably on their side, when it comes to subsidies for the ACA for the lower income people. I'm a retiree. I don't have ACA, but I have a hard time paying more taxes. I do well, but paying more taxes to subsidize people who are making more money than I am.
And that is a prime example of what's wrong with the healthcare system, what's wrong with Obamacare. How could you be older, make less money, but pay more in taxes to subsidize a program where someone's making more money than you and they get those benefits? It's insanity. And let's not forget about who's on our healthcare system, our welfare system, our SNAP benefits, our WIC. Okay, it's not just American citizens, by the way. So that's a whole nother thing. Now, the bottom line is there's this huge civil war with Democrats regarding the government shutdown, especially between the House and the Senate. And these ACA subsidies is going to be the fight leading into the holiday season. Book it right now. And in a disgusting move, Democrats are admitting that it was worth it when it comes to shutting down the government. Take a listen.
Shutdown worth it? Yeah, I think so. I hate it. But yeah, it was worth it. Definitely. We got people to pay attention to the fact that this is a traumatic, in many cases, life or death situation for people all over this country. Was the shutdown worth it?
I think it was, because I think the perception, we made it clear that this, not just the healthcare issue, but the whole issue.
Was it the shutdown worth it?
We have waged a battle on behalf of the American people. First of all, Donald Trump and Republicans are the ones who shut the government down. They have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And the American people know it. And that's been the case for 7 consecutive weeks.
But, at the end of the day, you didn't get what you want. So was it worth waging this fight?
At the end of the day, the fight lives on.
I mean, how much more clear could that be for a Democrat voter? Your representative clearly believes it was worth it to shut down the government for 40 days. Well, I think we're on 42nd, right? The 42nd day. Okay. The government probably won't be open until maybe tomorrow. Maybe not. If Republicans can't hold 2 votes. So Thomas Massey, probably a no. And if they lose another one, oh, we're screwed. So it's going to be another delay. But we'll see. The bottom line to my question here, especially for independents, especially for the Democrats out there, is this what you elected your representative to do, to cause unnecessary pain to the people they say they care about over a particular issue that was going to be debated come hell or high water regardless? They have to face ACA subsidies regardless. That's the interesting part about all this. Okay, let's go to what Hakeem Jeffries had to say as all the Democrats gathered around, because now the House is in session and they continue to gaslight the American people. Take a look.
House Democrats will continue to support our men and women in uniform. We will continue to support hardworking federal employees. We will continue to support our law enforcement personnel. House Democrats will continue to support our air traffic controllers. We will continue to support our TSA agents.
So that all sounds good, but the actions say otherwise, right? So you say that you support the military. Listen, as a veteran myself, the person I'm most disgusted at every single time are politicians, because they lie to your face. They say they care about the veterans. They really don't. Okay, let's just be honest about it. They care more about illegal aliens than they do our own veterans, okay? We know that just based on the resistance level. Illegal aliens face no resistance when it comes to getting defense. All right, let's just be real. Okay, that is the first thing. Secondly, they shut the government down for 40 plus days where military personnel couldn't get paid. And then President Trump had to figure it out, get a private donor to put up the money. Are you kidding me? Yeah, so it's truly disgusting. All right, let's go to our next update, H-1B visas. Yeah, this is continuing to be a conversation, okay? The vice president spoke out during an event today about his thoughts about the American worker. Fox News is continuing to rage against this idea of H-1B visas. We're going to cover both of that. Let's start with the vice president. Take a look.
You want to talk about like populism, and you want to talk about people being pissed off. Well, yeah, people are pissed off when they don't have good jobs. And people are pissed off when things disappear and move overseas. And people are pissed off when they feel like, you know, other countries are being prioritized over the United States of America. And all of that is part of the populist resentment of the past, 20 or 30 years in American politics. You know what really pisses people off? When they realize that their loved ones are dying much sooner than everybody else. And that is a big part of the story of what's going on in Appalachia and why I think so many people in Appalachia feel left behind. I mean, my story, obviously, it's been, like you said, I'm like the golden boy. Things have just worked out for me in this really incredible way. I feel so lucky and so grateful for it. But I also feel a certain sense of guilt because there are a lot of people who grew up in families like mine who haven't had an easy life and who haven't had all this economic opportunity and who haven't had, a person that they've fallen in love with and they've been able to sort of build a stable, nice family like me and Usha have been able to build. And that gives me a sense of purpose because I want those people to have the same opportunities that I've had. But it also gives me a great sense of anger because we never should have gotten to the point that we are today. And the reason that we have is because of failed leadership, and it's failed leadership over a generation.
You see, the vice president is touching on something that continues to blow my mind. You go back 50 years ago. You can have one job, one income, a family with kids, own your home, and have a car, and the wife can stay home, and you guys live a comfortable life. What changed? The people in Congress sold this out. That's what changed. Okay, so what do we do about it? We got to vote differently, okay? We got to keep speaking out against these issues, okay? The louder we are, the more we change how we vote, the more likely they are to listen, okay? So this isn't doom and gloom. The vice president is spot on about this. There's just certain opportunities that the younger generation does not have today that the older generation had. And you know what's interesting? It's vice versa. The opportunities that younger people have today is much more in abundance than people back then, meaning there are infinite ways to make money. But the vice president continues. Take a look.
And by the way, you talk about Appalachia, you were talking about people who, though they don't have much, would take the shirt off their back and give it to a complete stranger because that's what you do. If you go back to America's biggest wars, World War I, World War II, Vietnam, which are the counties that filled their draft quotas with volunteers instead of with draftees? It's very often the parts in deep Appalachia where you've got grinding poverty, but you've also got this incredible love of country. So if any place in this country deserves not to be left behind, it's Appalachia. But on the public health stuff in particular, the numbers don't look good. And it's one of the reasons why I'm such a big supporter of what you're doing, because these are people who deserve to live better, healthier lives, but they really have been left behind by this country's leadership.
Now, let's go back to solutions, okay? I think what the government should do, our leaders should do, is just admit that they can't solve this problem. That they need to get the communities, they need to get private companies and nonprofits to all come to the table and collectively offer solutions to these people in these areas. We got to stop allowing the government or depending on the government to fix every issue in America. I don't think they can. I think results have proven that. I think what they should do is incentivize these companies to kick in and help these people. And you know what's interesting? A lot of these companies, private and nonprofit, will do it much more efficiently than the federal government. Okay. All right, let's go to what Will Kane is going on about H-1B visas. And I'm telling you, they have this whole board exposing why it literally is a scam. Take a look.
What is an H-1B visa? Follow me over to the wall. H-1B visas are a mechanism of legal immigration that is supposed to bring in skilled workers into the United States. They allow for U.S. employers to hire foreign professionals in specialty occupations. What are those occupations? Well, they're mostly in the fields of tech, engineering, medicine, finance, IT. It requires that a bachelor's degree accompany that worker or higher education in a specified field. Now, here's how it works. An employer sponsors a foreign worker, and they can sponsor that visa for up to 3 years and then extend it to 6 years. Workers can apply for permanent residency later. There is a visa cap, 85,000 new visas each year. Now, of those 85,000, those are only new visas, new H-1Bs. About 400,000 every year are approved. Most of those are renewals, showing that they don't just stay for 3 years, but are renewed and extended past that time frame. Currently, there are supposedly around 700,000 H-1B visa holders in America.
All right, so let's go back to the facts of the case. China, 3.57 million graduates in 2020 when it comes to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And what did America come in at? 820,000. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a crisis on our hands. I told you I already disagree with the president. We have the talent. I disagree that we can't train them. Yes, we can. And again, H-1B visas, we're talking about lower end jobs. Okay, we're not talking about CEO level or executive level or even highly specialized training level. That's not what we're talking about here. And so the administration's got to change their language around this. The president may not, but the people around him, when they get in front of a camera, they're going to have to explain this a little bit better because the American people are not stupid. Just look at the numbers. China and India dwarf what the United States is doing.
Jobs. As I mentioned, STEM fields dominate the occupations, and most of the workers come from India. In fact, 70% of H-1B visa holders come from India. Another 10 to 15% come from China. 80% of H-1B visa approvals are for entry-level or junior-level jobs. That's a little hard to stomach when we hear that we're not talented enough or that we're not skilled enough for these jobs when you consider that most of these jobs are actually at entry or junior-level jobs. And it's definitely to the benefit of corporations, tech companies that can hire foreign workers, trust me on this, cheaper than American workers. This is laid out, by the way, by billionaire tech entrepreneur Palmer Luckey. And it's not just Silicon Valley. The Labor Department launched at least 175 investigations targeting potential abuses in the H-1B visa program. They alleged some foreign workers with advanced degrees paid less than what the job description said. That, of course, not only deprives American workers of that job, who have to have the going rate, but it drives down wages for visa holders and American workers.
Okay, so let me share my solution once again. Everybody has an opinion and we can complain like we're blue in the face, but let's actually focus on solutions. President Trump, do this, or someone in the administration. Announce today that you will cut funding, you will freeze funding, you will revoke visa programs unless these universities develop an accelerated program to place American workers in these lower level jobs at these companies. These tech companies, you want tax cuts, you want tax breaks, you will adhere to this accelerated program, and you will prioritize the American worker over H-1B visas every single time. Slapping $100,000 on an H-1B visa fee is step number one. I applaud the president for doing that. But let's just go all the way and focus on our younger generation. If we don't fight for them, if we don't do this for them, I'm telling you guys right now, they will look towards socialism, and then we'll really have some problems on our hands. All right, let's hear from you guys in the comments section below to these stories today. A lot, of course, starting with this insane ruling from another judge that seeks to undermine the president, of course, and micromanage ICE. They have ruled that they need to release illegal aliens who have been detained, all because ICE may or may not have violated an agreement that required certain documents to be filled out or an administrative warrant to be issued before picking these people up. What do you guys make of that? Secondly, what do you make of the government shutdown? Still, right now, Democrats are more obsessed with Epstein files, of course. They're still dealing with AOC versus Chuck Schumer, and they're still trying to tell the American people that they're fighting for them. But didn't they leave the government closed for almost 42 days so far? It's interesting. Let me know your thoughts about that. And finally, H-1B visas. Give me your opinion on that as well, and your overall thoughts in the comments section below. Now, in case you were working or you were living under a rock, maybe, okay, earlier today, Democrats and mainstream media did a disgusting thing. They pulled out some emails from Epstein files and lied about the president. They tried to make it sound as if the president was in on it. And as you guys know, that isn't true. So, of course, we show you the facts of the case, including other nonsense that is continuing to go on with our Congress. If you guys missed out on that update and more, all you have to do is click on that video because it's coming up right now.